Okay, so thanks everybody for coming tonight. I know it's that time of the year where there's Christmas parties and whatnot going on, so thanks for taking the time to come. Just the first thing, probably just maybe put your phones on mute, just in case you haven't. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an intro to Exceed Online. My name is Kyle Aspinall and I'm the founder of Exceed. We're a 9-year-old company, and I want to talk a little bit about us, and then I'll introduce Magento, Mike from Magento to come up, and then I will proceed from there. So Exceed started off in 2005. I came back from the US after 8 years in California running e-commerce sites, and I started Exceed primarily as just a consultancy firm. There was just myself and one other, and we did that for a couple of years, and we went into a partnership with a company called Online. I think some of you know who they are, and I think there's a couple of you that are actually on their platform. So Online is a product based out of Christchurch, and they run a number of sites throughout Australia and New Zealand. So we partnered with them, and they were our development arm while we were growing. And then we bumped into Magento from some good friends back in LA where I used to work, and they said, look, you got to look at this product. It's a great product. It's an enterprise product. It's brand new, but it's going to change the world. And so I said, okay, great, let's have a look at it. So we jumped on it, and it was just a great opportunity to be the fourth partner in the world. There's about 600 partners globally now. So I picked the right horse. I wish it was a lotto ticket instead, but it was Magento. So that was in 2008. And really we come from like I said here, we come from a consultancy business to now moving into being a real development company. And really what our clients were sort of asking about and wanting us to do now was to do some more marketing and understand how to get traffic to the site. So 2009 and 10 was about understanding how to get traffic to the site, and still today Google's drives a lot of traffic to I'm sure most of your websites. And 2011 we were awarded Magento Partner of the Year, which was a great award for us to win out of 10 globally. So we were very honoured to do that, and of course I was honoured to go to Vegas and pick up that award. So that was lovely. And then the last year and a half, we've been working on XL1, and XL1 Jason will touch on a little bit further. But XL1 is effectively an e-business framework and technology that sits on top of Magento, which fills a lot of the gaps that a lot of New Zealand and Australian companies require to have Magento localized for the local market. Okay, so Exceed now, 18. Some of the team are here. So we're 18 strong now, and our core focus is just e-commerce. So a lot of our competitors will sell a content management site, or they'll do a website for a finance company. For us, it's all about selling products, getting products out of our clients' systems, getting them online, getting them back into systems, and allowing them to be able to deliver that. So that's our core focus, and really the key thing for us is looking for long-term partnerships. So it's not just about building a website anymore. We've passed those days. It's really about working with clients for at least 3 to 4 years. Now, Magento introduction. Just a little video, and as soon as we finish this, we'll have Mike from Magento.
We are number one SDK suppliers in the
We are the oldest fair trade retailer in the world.
We run the largest online donation marketplace ever imagined.
On the mobile app side of those games, we have soon 1 billion downloads.
Well, before Magento, life was really hard.
We needed something to be able to develop rapidly and integrate and deploy rapidly.
We had a lot of customers that frankly would abandon the cart and just opt to call an 800 number.
We have 1 million daily unique visitors, also like scalability.
Relevancy,
Flexible
product comparisons, and product upsells.
We can move data back and forth between systems.
and then that's a lot of functionality.
We have this new idea for our shippers in the warehouse. We're going to mount iPads on our forklifts so they can do these things, and it's all possible.
We'll be able to collect the stories of the end users, load them up to our site, and then feed that information back to our donors, who will then be inspired to give that much more.
Moving to Magento has really enabled us to get across the brand to who we really are.
I mean, we did the whole site in 8 months, and I think we're telling the stories much better than we ever have.
It's just funny being stuck on a platform we can't develop and saying, you know, oh, it'd be so nice if we do this, so nice if we do this, and now it's the world's our oyster.
So my name is Mike Doyle. I'm the Enterprise Sales Manager at Magento. I cover Australia and New Zealand. Really what I do is I work with our enterprise clients and our enterprise solution partners in the ecosystem and kind of connect everything together. And that's really kind of what I want to kick off with is, why do we do e-commerce forms? What's the Magento solution all about? I think sometimes people think Magento is just the platform, that's what I need to be successful. Definitely not true. It's definitely that part in blue that really is what the Magento solution is. So if you see there, you have obviously the platform, but you also have solution partners, industry partners, and hosting partners. So solution partners, those are like the guys that Exceed Online. They can build the site, they can do implementation, they can do integration, they can do customization. Definitely the most important piece of the puzzle, definitely the most important aspect of being successful with our platform, and also flows right into the two bottom components there. So you have industry partners, guys like SLI, people that provide other best-of-breed technology that you can plug into Magento to allow your business to scale and really create a best-of-breed solution. And then, of course, you need to host Magento. So a lot of people get hung up on hosting. They don't use the right hosting configurations, or the company they're using doesn't understand how to scale Magento from a hosting standpoint. So we also have great hosting partners. You'll hear from the guys from Bulletproof tonight around hosting Magento and how to scale with the platform. And what's cool about this is you can pick different components, right? There's a big ecosystem of solution partners, industry partners, hosting partners. So whatever fits your business and your region, if you're going, global, you can pick solution partners in different countries, hosting partners in different countries, industry partners in different countries. So it gives you the flexibility to really tailor, your solution. And if you look on the bottom, that's us supporting this. So whether that's from an expert consulting standpoint, or let's say you need some sort of custom architecture with Magento, great, we can provide consulting around that. You need support, we have a fully supported platform called Magento Enterprise. You need training, we add new training classes, it looks like about once a month these days. So if you're a developer, check that out, you can get developer training. If you're a designer, there's design training. You use Magento on an admin standpoint, go through that training in the back end. Lots of great resources there. So Magento today, really where we are. So I'll pull up a few numbers here. So according to the Alexa data on the Tom Roberts Shaw report that we did, about the #1 platform worldwide, so using about 26% of all e-commerce sites within that data, over 200,000 merchants utilizing Magento, 500 employees focused on the platform. And what's interesting is we're a very R&D heavy company. The majority of our employees are in a product role, or a development role. 2,000 certified Magento developers, 200 top tier solution partners. I think connecting back, on the clients, you'll find it's a pretty good mix, right? We didn't build Magento for one specific vertical or one specific type of client. So you have the B2C guys, you have the B2B guys, you have private sales, pure plays, really a good mix in there. But our biggest vertical by far is fashion, right? Fashion clients want to be unique. They want to take their offline presence, move that online, or some sort of customization, some sort of differentiation. Magento gives them the flexibility, to do that. So again, there's the data, up to 29% now worldwide. And it's actually interesting, Australia and New Zealand is our biggest market by market share. So we do about 42% of all e-commerce sites within the region. So huge client base for us and a huge ecosystem to support that. So if you don't know why people choose Magento or you don't use Magento, these are the 4 main value propositions of our platform. Biggest one is definitely flexibility. It's open source or it's open core. It's open APIs. It's non-proprietary language. There's a lot of developers out there that obviously understand PHP and the Zen framework. It's high value. It's how do we give you a low total cost of ownership so you can work with a solution partner and achieve a great ROI. It's performance. It's how do you scale. And it's not just scaling to hit, X amount of $1 million in online revenue. It's what if you want to scale and pull in new brands within your portfolio, localize for Hong Kong, China, the US, whatever those markets look like. Magento, at its very core, is designed for that sort of solution. So a lot of scalability from that standpoint. And then, of course, while you're here, the vibrant ecosystem. So something we want to support, something we want to grow. So that's why clients, really look at the platform. I think if you look at where we're headed, it's always how do we expand our resources? How do we support that ecosystem? But I think from an actual product standpoint, it's what releases are we going to do? So we made a really big update earlier this year in Q2, which was 1.13. If you're on Magento, definitely check this out. If you're on Community, it's 1.8. What we did is we moved indexing as a background operation. So if you have a bigger site or a lot of SKUs, you probably had some issues with indexing. So we resolved a lot of those issues. We improved how caching works within Magento. And then we also did about 350 smaller fixes to the platform. I think my favorite statistic, if you're using the same hardware, you can now support 33% greater order volume, through the platform. So a really significant update from our standpoint. And really what we try to do is we try to get the feedback from our clients. What do you want in Magento? And so I want to sell more, make more money, and I want to scale more. So this was a big, scalability release for us. And into the future, kind of the same thing, right? What do clients want? They want performance, they want core technology updates. So something like updating, the Zen framework to the latest edition. They want more APIs to connect to more of the features. And they want business intelligence. How can I utilize data within my platform and get meaningful results out of that? So that's really what we look at, when we're building functionality into the platform. And of course, we're an eBay-owned company, so I have to do my eBay slide. But really, the cool thing about Magento is we're an agnostic platform, right? You can integrate anything you want into Magento, but within eBay Inc., there are a lot of brands and a lot of companies within our portfolio. So you have, fulfillment assets like GSI. You have mobile, local, personalization, social, global assets. And really, Magento is the gateway into using all of those. So the easiest way to use, PayPal, eBay Marketplace, GSI, VendorNet is to be on Magento. So of course you can integrate whatever you want. We just figure the things that are within our portfolio, we're gonna have some really slick integrations and really give you a solution, to compete out of the marketplace. So those are my main slides. If you have specific questions about Magento, where we're headed, functionality, find me afterwards. Happy to answer all those questions. So you can always send me an email. Otherwise, I think I'll hand it off to you, Jason.
Yep.
All right.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming along tonight. Really appreciate seeing you all here. For those of you that haven't met me before, my name is Jason Greenwood. I've been with Exceed for about 2.5 years now. I'm our senior e-business consultant, so I work with clients across trying to put together a complete holistic solution, typically with Magento kind of at the center of that digital solution for our clients. So talk a bit more about obviously what we can do for you and what the platform can do for you and some of the ideas that we'd like to bring to the table, whether you're running Magento now or considering running Magento, and if you've got an online business at all, hopefully this will be of benefit to you tonight. Who's heard of Magento? Has everybody here heard of Magento? I guess just about everybody has. Just about everybody. It's great. Who's heard of open source software before? Hands up. Just about everyone. Great. What is open source? So we'll talk a little bit about, we've talked about Magento is open source at its core. So what is that and how does it benefit you if you run it or you're going to be running it? In production and development, open source as a philosophy, it promotes universal access via free license to the product's design or blueprint, and it provides for universal redistribution of that design or blueprint, including subsequent improvements to anyone. So basically the whole concept is the platform is wide open. That's the idea. So contributions from around the world. Why Magento? Just move into a little bit of, and Mike spoke to this a little bit, but I think from our perspective as Exceed, as a solution partner, our perspective is sometimes a little bit different than corporate, which is probably quite good because we can inform them of what's working and what's not in the marketplace. From our perspective, customers choose Magento for a couple of key reasons. One is it is open source and they can connect to it from many different back office systems. One additional feature is that it does have a large ecosystem built up around it. because it is the most widely deployed platform in the world. It's got over 6,000 extensions around it, a bit like an app store. It's got 150 industry partners like Bulletproof and SLI, over 300 solution partners globally. And most importantly, it enables businesses of all sizes to control and customize the look and feel, content, and functionality of their online stores. So it gives them the functionality out of the box to do most of what they want to do, but through customization allows them to do exactly what they want to do. What are the merchant benefits? If you're a merchant and you're looking to move to Magento or you're already on Magento, what are some of the things that make it good from a merchant perspective? It gives you freedom from lock-in to a specific vendor, and it prevents you from being fully locked into the platform so your data can be exported out of it into other systems. It gives you flexibility both in your design and in your implementation of Magento. We have many different support options, from core enterprise support for the core code through Magento directly, obviously through support through the industry partners and solution partners in the marketplace. You have the try before you buy freemium model. So through the Magento community version, you have the ability to have a non-licensed product, a license that's free. So you can download, you can install the free version, you can try it out. If it works for your business and it allows your business to grow, then you can move to the enterprise class product that has a lot more functionality on top of the core product. Extensions, as we discussed, and a thriving partner network and ecosystem around it, and the backing of eBay, which allows you to tap into all the eBay resources. Magento in 2013, I'll rifle through this pretty quickly because I think Mike covered just about all the basics, but we've got some regionalized data that might be pretty interesting for you. Over 3 million downloads of Magento so far today, 25 billion in transactions a year pushed through the Magento platform, which is pretty significant. 500,000 community members around the platform, a very active developer and merchant community. 150,000 plus merchants on Magento globally, so a large merchant community that can connect with each other and give each other ideas and concepts and ways forward to improve their business. Search demand, as you can see over time since Magento's inception and release in 08 through to today, it's pretty much grown pretty astronomically, and the demand is still very, very strong. We see that in the marketplace, and we see that from merchants every day talking to us about either wanting to improve their Magento solution or wanting to move to it in the first place. In terms of market share, Mike did speak to this, but it's got about a 30% market share in just about every region that Magento operates and has a presence. So that's pretty significant. When you look at the fragmentation of platforms underneath Magento, it drops down to almost nothing. So when you think about other platforms, there really is nothing else in the marketplace that compares or competes to Magento. It's got about a 42% market share in Australia across e-com sites and the top million Alexa sites. So it pretty much dominates the market in Australia, and it's similar in New Zealand. We don't have the segmentation data for New Zealand like we do Australia, but it would be similar, probably around the 50% mark in New Zealand. Who uses Magento? We've got 6,000 plus sites in Australia that use Magento. We've got over 900 sites in New Zealand that are running Magento, so it's a significant number of merchants that are leveraging the Magento platform for their business online. We've got a few little brands down here in this part of the world, some you may recognize. So you can see, obviously, from Harvey Norman to Kathmandu to Nike, a lot of brands. In other words, and this is not a big brag fest about Magento, that's not what it's designed to be, that's not why we're here. But the benefit of a large market share and a dominant market share of the platform simply means you're in very good company if you run Magento. Now what that means for you as a merchant is that when new technologies come to market, what are they going to adapt their technology for first? Magento. If you're a service provider, if you're a freight carrier, if you're a payment gateway, if you've got some wicked new conversion technology that you want to bring to market for e-commerce, you'd build it for Magento first, because everything else is almost a waste of time. Platform is very mature and stable. There's a large pool of partners and developers around the platform as well. We'll just play another video, a short video about how a merchant has leveraged Magento in their business, and then we'll get back into the discussion.
The sister called me and said, should I be an Italian waitress or Japanese waitress? I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, what gives better tips? Because I need to make some money. And I said, but you want to be a designer, right? She said, it's all I've ever wanted to be. It's all I've ever been able to breathe, eat, sleep. I have no desire in this life to be a designer. I said, well, if that's all you want to do, then let's do it. So let's start a company. Fast forward 7 or 8 years later, we are the 4th largest domestically in the U.S. in our category. We are a premier fashion lifestyle company with a heavy focus on accessories. And we cater towards 20 to 35-year-old women. We've had a tremendous amount of growth, but our story was that of very grassroots entrepreneurship. A couple of years ago, we decided that we had to get a little bit more serious about it because the orders were coming in and our home-based site just lacked the functionality. So we evaluated a number of different platforms, and for us, Magento Enterprise, it had all the right check marks. I think the great thing about Magento Enterprise, it's one of the most widely used and ubiquitous platforms.
What I appreciate about Magento Enterprise is that the product upload process is relatively fast and simple, and it also allows us a lot of flexibility in terms of how we want to place certain products or colorways in different locations of the site.
So instead of going out and spending a fortune on a custom upgrade to something, you oftentimes find that the platform itself has evolved, or that there are third-party products there that you can access at an economical nature to upgrade.
We recently relaunched RebeccaMakeoff.com. I was amazed by how quickly a small team with a big idea could execute a beautiful new website. I think that really speaks to the scalability and usability of Magento Enterprise systems.
One of the things I actually did was I interviewed some different firms that were great Magento partners, and they were also partners with other competing platforms, and they all kind of steered me towards Magento. And they basically said, you're going to be happiest with this platform, it's the easiest one to support, and your total cost of ownership is going to be dramatically lower. And with the whole Magento community, there's so much great data there on the frequently asked questions. You have people that are always advancing the technology, and knowing that the team is there to support us to give us best of breed means we're always going to be at the forefront of what technology has to offer in terms of e-commerce.
Thank you, Daniel. Great job on the laptop tonight. Appreciate that. So now we get into really the meat of, I guess, why we're here, which is to talk about how you can improve your business, whether you're on the Magento platform or not, but specifically how you can use some of the core functionality of Magento to improve your business and maximize your profitability for the Christmas season, both in 2013 and 2014. Yes, we're going to start talking about 2014 tonight, amazingly. We want to maximize the value of big data. It's a bit of a buzzword, big data, but really you need to get ready for the flood because there's a lot of it coming. Is this kind of how you feel when you think about big data? You've probably got data coming from a lot of different sources like Google Analytics, your CRM system, ERP, in-store purchase data, accounting data, B2B sales data. So how can you maximize the value of big data? Christmas generates lots of clickstream and other user data, so you want to obviously leverage that. It's not the time to really put new systems into place, obviously. It's probably appreciated and converted in that regard, but you really want to maximize what you have now. Ensure your current systems are configured correctly and test them as much as you can, particularly if you've got a staging site. Focus on the easy wins. Look at your Google Analytics data. See if there's anybody falling out of your transaction funnel at specific points where you can put a little piece of messaging in there, just a bit of text. If they're falling out at a specific point, maybe you can help them convert into a customer a bit easier. Analyze your key metrics on the fly daily, obviously your bounce rates, obviously where they're falling out of the funnel, where they're entering your site, exiting your site. See where you can optimize that process a little bit to message them properly, particularly around this time of the year. You can deeply analyze the data once the flood ends. Obviously, the primary goals around this time of the year, you want to maximize your conversion rate, your average order value, and your customer lifetime value, and we'll speak to that a little bit in specifics here. They've arrived. So customers are at your website. They're tracking around and they've looked at a lot of other websites and now they're at your website. You obviously want to convert, maximize, and retain them. That's the goal. You obviously want to maximize conversion. One of the ways you can do that, and one of the ways that global studies show that prevents conversions, one of the major hindrances to conversion is shipping. So is your shipping rates, are they clear? Is it very clear how you're going to get it to them and how long it's going to take? Also, offering free shipping is a biggie. Create a dedicated Christmas landing or category page on your site, making sure that customers can access all of your Christmas product from the one page. You're going to create festive and engaging content, primarily around video. Something around video really tends to engage customers a lot more than static content of any kind. You want to create content specials and products for those that don't like or celebrate Christmas. Obviously, we've got some Ebenezer Scrooges in the marketplace. We also have people that, from a religious perspective, simply don't celebrate Christmas. So you obviously want to cater to them. Make sure that you have Bah Humbug or perhaps Ebenezer Scrooge type categories that present non-seasonal products to them to make sure that you're actually catering to those buyers instead of letting them leave because really you're pushing Christmas so hard that they can't think about anything else. Want to maximize conversion in a number of other ways. We've got a couple of clients that have done this routinely every year, and it creates a sense of urgency, which is to create a countdown timer on their website to when they can take last orders for Christmas and reasonably get it to you. Target your last minute shoppers if you can deliver for them. A lot of last minute shoppers online, they want to be absolutely certain that they're going to get their gift for their friend, their family member by Christmas Day. So make sure you can deliver if you're going to promise that to them. Around this time of the year, you're really wanting to increase your CPA spend. So CPA stands for cost per acquisition. So if you're running something like AdWords where you're spending to get traffic to your site, now's the time to really spend more because buyers are in a buying mood at this time of the year more than any other. It's time to leverage that technology. Make your returns and exchange policy more prominent on your website than you would at other times because it's a major concern at this time of the year for buyers, as you can imagine. Also make gift wrapping options, if you offer them, more prominent. So perhaps create a special static content page around your gift wrapping options and make sure that there's a static block or something prominently messaging your options on the home page and throughout your site. To maximize conversion by making your phone number more prominent, you'd be surprised how many websites we either take over or when merchants come to us from another platform that we see that their phone number is so difficult to find on their website that basically you've got to spend 10 minutes to find it. Make sure it's front and center, either in the header or the footer on every single page of your website. Run and advertise your Boxing Day sales early. You might think that it's going to cannibalize your Christmas business. Trust me, it won't. If they're going to wait till Boxing Day to purchase through you, they're going to wait till Boxing Day whether you advertise a Boxing Day sale or not. Also, you want to also enable some abandoned cart follow-up technology in emails. What we see, so abandoned cart is when somebody adds a bunch of stuff to their shopping basket, but they don't actually complete their transaction on your website and they leave before completing their transaction. If you send a follow-up email, and it can be automated or it can be manual, automated is always best, particularly when you're doing a lot of transactions. You want to get people back to their cart and continue in their checkout. That's the goal. People may leave their cart or checkout for a number of reasons. You won't always know what they are. According to our data and global data, anywhere from 15 to about 40% of carts can be recovered simply by sending a friendly email saying, hey, we noticed that you didn't complete a transaction with us. Are there any questions we can answer? Please ring this phone number. We'll be happy to help you out. If they can click on their cart directly from the email and go back to their website and complete their transaction, that aids in completing that transaction for them. You can increase recovery through incentivization. So you might want to send a coupon code with that email and say, hey, look, if you recover your cart within the next 2 days or 24 hours, then you get an extra 5% off. So that's another way to get customers back to your website. You can optimize site search. I don't kind of want to steal SLI's thunder, but Magento does have a reasonably powerful site search technology. It isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. And you can also optimize your site search redirect. So if there's a specific query, site search redirects, if a visitor is searching for a specific product, the quicker you can get them into the buying process by landing them either on the appropriate category or product page automatically with the search result, the quicker they're going to add those products to their cart as a rule. You can land visitors on category and product pages, and it also trains your visitors to trust site search more, and SLI will talk in more depth about that. You can use both GA, which is Google Analytics, and Magento query data to optimize your site search results. You can let your segmentations drive your results, and you can ensure your infrastructure can cope with all this additional traffic that you're getting this time of year. One of the ways that you can maximize your conversion is configure your shop by attribute or your quick find, which is the inline filtration mechanism that you see over there. So if you have multiple sizes, multiple colors, multiple prices of specific products, by configuring all those attributes in a logical way, customers will be able to narrow down their selection much, much quicker. You want to maximize average order value, obviously. A number of ways to do that. One is to pitch your upsells right at the product page level. So you want to pitch your more expensive products designed to make the customer spend more right on the product page. You also want to have your related products right on the product page, so complementary products shown on the product page that might complement it or go along with it. You have cross-sells basically at the cart level. You have the ability on Magento. Some other platforms have this as well, but it is native with Magento. You have the ability to add cheap last-minute products on your shopping cart page. Think of it as your checkout in the supermarket when they have the gum and the chocolate at checkout. Similar sort of concept. You want to maximize the lifetime value of your customers to you. So customer lifetime value, you actually want them to stay with you for the long term as opposed to just buying with you once. You want them to buy with you time and time again over a number of weeks, months, and years. You can create transactional follow-up emails based on order status. So for example, maybe 3 days after an order goes to ship, you can say, hey, you should have received your order by now. Please let us know if you haven't, and we'll be happy to follow that up for you. Just creating that relationship with your customer. You can provide coupon codes for purchases made in the new year. So if it's around Christmas time, you can have an automated follow-up email once a transaction goes to shipped. So you send them a coupon and say, look, you're coming back and you buy in the month of January, you're going to get 10% off. Just trying to create that long-term relationship with your customers. You can solicit reviews and testimonials through automated emails, and that builds credibility on your site around both your products and your service. So moving on to Christmas 2014, like I said, there's a lot of things to consider for the new year as well. And we'll move into that a little bit more. Plan now, yes, really. I know it's quite surprising, but yes, probably start thinking about it today. Get mobile. Surprisingly, we've got some pretty good data on Australia, and less than 15% of Australian websites and even fewer for New Zealand are optimized for mobile, which is absolutely shocking. As we look at the trends of mobile device usage basically going parabolic today, to not be mobile already is a travesty as a business. 26% of online purchases are now made on mobile devices globally, and that's climbing month on month. You want to make sure that your key information is prominent on your website. So use segmented persuasion bars, so that little bar up against that main image or above that main image has some key information about your business and the way that you operate around your returns, your shipping, your delivery. Make sure that that links off to CMS pages that delve into that into a little bit more detail so customers have confidence in buying through you. You want to integrate. What is integration? Basically, in a nutshell, it's making a manual process automated through integration to back office systems and processes. You can automate your manual tasks, and it makes your business more scalable without throwing more bodies at it. Magento has very open APIs so that just about any web-enabled or digitally enabled system can connect to Magento and bring data into and out of it. It creates single views of both your customers, your data, your warehousing, the customer experience. It brings all that into the one platform, and you're allowed to, that enables the ability for you to segment your customers based on their buying patterns and habits and history. Integration also allows you to sell in other marketplaces, and I'll speak to that a little bit more shortly. You can implement click and collect functionality, so customers buy online, and if you've got physical retail stores, they can then come in and collect in store from you if there's a store nearby. You can allow your stores to be warehouses and dispatch points through integration, and you can customer lifecycle manage your customers much, much better. So my girlfriend is probably the prime example of customer lifecycle management. She seems to be on the online wine sellers mailing list for just about every online wine selling website. There's one in particular that is fully integrated with their CRM system. They must know down to the day when we run out of wine, because literally on the day we run out of wine, they ring us up and say, hey, you haven't bought with us for the last month. You're probably getting down to the last of your stock. Hey, we've got these specials that are only available through me. So that's melding that customer service, that traditional customer service via phone, plus the web channel. We've only ever bought through that wine site. We've never bought through their physical store because they don't have any. But they're leveraging that big data and the experience that they have with us as buyers. They know that we buy red wine. I don't know why, but they know that we buy red wine, so whenever they have red wine specials, they tend to ring us up. That's all happening through integration to CRM back office systems. Typical systems that you might integrate to your web platform are your point of sale systems if you have one, customer relationship management systems, ERP and accounting, and all the rest. You want to segment everything. So you want to segment your customers, you want to segment your warehouse performance, you want to segment your performance of your marketing, you want to segment the performance of your channels. If you sell through web, you sell through physical, you sell through eBay, you sell through TradeMe, you sell through lots of digital channels, you want to segment those and see what's performing best and where your investment is best placed. Implementing a rewards and loyalty point system. This is pretty key, especially to hybrid businesses that are running physical stores as well as an e-store. One of the best ways to get data about your physical customers is to get them to join a rewards points and loyalty system. They'll give you typically their phone number, their address. They'll typically give you a lot of information like their email address and other contact information, but more importantly, it ties in their buying history both offline and offline so that you can create targeted campaigns just for those customers. You want to do an infrastructure review. If you're a growing business, which hopefully everyone is, You want to look back at your site performance in 2013 and make sure that 2014 can cope with hopefully what is a growth in your transactional volume and your visitor volume. You might look at an infrastructure upgrade and say, hey, look, we need to put some more clever stuff in place. Might not mean new web servers, but it might need other supporting technology to allow you to cope with the growth of your business. SLI will speak more to this. Sean from SLI will speak to this a bit later, but as I said, Magento site search is pretty average. And by offloading that site search load to a technology dedicated to site search, not only will the search results be more accurate and more relevant, but it will unload Magento's responsibility for providing those site search results and make the performance of Magento that much better. You'll want to consider entering new marketplaces. Now, a lot of New Zealand businesses don't actually ever consider trading on eBay in Australia. It's a huge, huge marketplace. Hundreds of millions of dollars are transacted every year on eBay. Many customers go to eBay first before they do a Google search for a product. By integrating Magento to eBay, and there is a seamless native integration to eBay from Magento using the M2E extension, you effectively have another storefront called eBay in the back end of Magento, and it means that as long as you can ship to Australia, you can sell into Australia. It's that simple. You want to add new payment options, or at least consider it. If a big chunk of your customers want to pay with a Q card, why wouldn't you let them? If that's preventing them from buying through you, make sure you implement that, Farmer's Card, and PayPal. PayPal's a real big one. PayPal has some pretty big statistics in terms of fast facts. 5 million active accounts in Australia. If you want to sell into Australia, it's pretty much a must-have. Supports payments in 25 currencies, and it's accepted by most top merchants, so it's really becoming a payment standard. You want to add new shipping options. If you only offer one shipping option and your customer doesn't like that shipping option, they're going to go somewhere else that meets their needs. Make sure you add what they're after, aid in your conversion. The next one is flag, tag, and test. So there's 3 really sections to this. You want to flag significant campaign dates. So Google Analytics has the ability for you to annotate Google Analytics when you have a new campaign that launches, or you launch a new functionality on your website. You want to see what happens from that date forward in terms of your key metrics. Is it working? Isn't it working? Has it improved everything, or hasn't it? The next one is tagging. Google Analytics has the ability to do event tagging. So some of the key things that you'll want to tag are video actions. So as video becomes more prominent on websites, Zappos, the website, if you don't know it, definitely have a look. They're probably the best in the world, one of the best in the world around using video on their website. They have video on just about every single product page. You want to tag that. You want to know when they click on start, stop, how long they dwell on that video, do they watch the whole thing or don't they, etc. You also want to tag your other actions, such as downloading PDF documents of key statistics on your products. You want to test. Implement testing tools like Visual Website Optimizer so you can test everything that you do along the way to see how it performs on your website, primarily around the idea of design customization. Put this button here, make it a different color. Is it working? Is it increasing my conversion, or is it reducing it? And if it doesn't work, change back to the original. You want to set up regular testing throughout the year so that by the time you get to Christmas, you've got a well-optimized site. Finally, come and talk to us. We can obviously talk to you about all these concepts and a whole lot more, and specifically around the Magento platform.
LPs, those are very big black vinyl blobs, if anyone remembers those. CDs, they have MP3s that you can download, albums that they can download, and they're complex products because you can download a single song, but you can also download an album. So in terms of what Magento is doing, there's a huge amount of range of products and the sort of things that they have to work through in the database. They have hundreds of websites. All of their artist websites, they've got a different front-end domain name. I always use Justin Bieber as an example, not because I'm a fan myself, but the development manager at Universal Music Australia is very much a metal kind of guy, so I like to use Justin Bieber as an example all the time just to kind of knock him out. So for instance, they'll have justinbieber.com.au as the front-end store, front-end artist website, and then they'll have a store hanging off it with just the Justin Bieber content. Then they've also got the really big store, which has all of the products that you can look through. So whenever an artist comes on board, they want to launch a site, they'll build a different front end. And with WordPress and Magento, that's nice and easy. You can have multi-site, multi-front end, multi-language, not something they've started on yet, but it's in their future. So it's a really flexible platform to do those sorts of things. The project is really high profile within the company. basically all of their international organisations are looking at UMA to see how they go with this, and then ultimately UMA want to be able to sell this internally to all of the other organisations. So it's a big deal for them in terms of proving that we're fantastic down here and we can kick ass. But then also they get to make some money internally, which is nice for them. So for them it comes down to being incredibly mission critical as a platform. They want to make it highly available. All of their artists rely on the reputational backing of Universal Music Australia and the resources that they put into this project. If Justin Bieber gets caught on a bus with drugs, as has happened sometimes, they want to make sure that his website is up so that people can go to the website and get his perspective on that situation. They want to make sure it performs well. There's some great data that's come out of Google that suggests that for every 100 milliseconds you reduce in your page load time, you grow your sales by 1%. People have a very, very strong reaction to slow websites. And also they have to deal with campaign situations. If an artist launches an album, if an artist goes to jail, anything like that, there's going to be a big spike in the traffic, and they can't predict it. So the sales process with UMA was kind of amusing. They actually chose another provider initially, but they came to Bulletproof, and we're doing management for them on AWS, because we know a lot of the infrastructure that you need to run a good Magento site. And some of that background is in with customers that we service elsewhere. We have a lot of experience with the LAMP stack, so Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. We do a lot of WordPress. Mamma Mia runs WordPress. Mamma Mia is like a magazine. It's not, by people who don't enjoy it, it's regarded as a mummy blogger site. It's more of a magazine site. Drupal, Radio Australia, ABC's international arm, they run Drupal. We have some really big Magento sites, Aldi Liquor and Quicksilver. Aldi Liquor is another interesting case where Aldi, the company worldwide, has not got into e-commerce before, so they decided that their test case would be an online liquor store in Australia, which is kind of cheating because that's going to work. You know that's going to work. Of course it's going to succeed. So Aldi Liquor Australia, they want to make sure that their international groups really like what they're doing. So that's another thing that has sort of worldwide scope. And then a bespoke application built on PHP and the LAMP stack is Movember. Yes, that's why. You don't have to be polite about it. They usually look like this. We host them, we've been helping them out for a few years now, and they have scaled massively over the last few years. Used to be like this cool little Australian thing, then it grew out Australia and New Zealand, then it blew up in the UK, and more recently it's been in the US. And last year they did about $170 million worth of donations. They have tens of database servers, hundreds of web application servers. So not quite e-commerce, but they've got very, very similar requirements. In the UMA case, on the AWS platform, they couldn't use the storage service from AWS for all of their shared assets, like album artwork. So we built a NAS solution so that they could share all of their artwork amongst all of their web servers and all of their Magento code and so on. So that's basically making sure that they've got a highly available file system available to their front ends. So one of the tricks with shifting out to the cloud is that you kind of have to adapt to the way that the cloud works, and if you want to make sure that you're highly available, you want to make sure that you can scale, you kind of have to adapt where applications have not necessarily been designed for the public cloud. We also helped them integrate S3 storage for their digital media content and uploaded it all for them. One day we got a stack of hard disks, and please upload all of these MP3s to the cloud. And we managed to do that in a couple of days for them. The great thing about S3 storage is that it's incredibly cheap, and they have 11 nines of data durability, which basically means that one object might disappear in a trillion objects. So it's great for them. That's their entire digital back catalogue. So albums, MP3s, they've got artists, like full quality album artwork, all that sort of stuff. And that's I think about 1 or 2 terabytes at the moment, and they've got more and more going online all the time. The other thing is, due to licensing, sorry Mike, they couldn't scale me onto Magento Enterprise Edition nodes. They wanted to make sure that they could be successful at a relatively small scale to start off with. So we had to make sure we could optimize everything around Magento, take as much load as we could off the Magento servers themselves. So part of what we've been doing in the background of Bulletproof is creating a Magento optimized environment. It's a turnkey solution, how to run Magento as fast as you possibly can, ready for a Magento developer or a store owner to come in and add themes, add modules, do the integration work, that sort of thing. We spend all the time underneath to make sure that the infrastructure is right and all of the optimization up to the Magento level is all done correctly. So this is a pretty picture of our optimized stack. The UMA environment is somewhat more complicated than this. There's all sorts of things hanging off it, business applications and all that kind of stuff, but this is the nice and easy to work with one. From the bottom up, we've got a highly available MySQL stack. So one of the things you'll find is if your database server goes down, your site's down. That's where all of the interesting information about your products and all that sort of stuff is. That's the core data source of your app. So you want to make sure that if one of them dies, you can have another one spin up straight away and be ready to go. So luckily within the AWS environment, we can do this not just within a single data center, but within 2 different data centers. And that's just sort of seamless within the AWS environment. On top of that, we have a set of essentially acceleration technologies that Magento is using. One of them is Redis. Magento can talk to Redis before it talks to MySQL to get a much faster response for the basic information that you get out of MySQL. So for instance, when you go to a product page and you have a list of tracks within an album, say, rather than going and querying the database, which might take a little bit of time, you can get that really, really quickly with Redis. And so over time, you have all of the memory in your Redis servers storing the top most interesting information on your store, whether it's page information, product information, those sorts of things. And it can get it instantly from Redis, whereas it would take a little bit more time with MySQL. Great thing about that is that MySQL can then do more for other customers. And then we also integrated the Solar Search platform so that you can accelerate category views, site search, all that kind of stuff. Solar is kind of like a database, but it's really, really, really good at search. Not quite as good as SLI, but it nicely integrates with Magento straight away. Then on top of that, we have the Red web servers. They're active, taking traffic from the front end for all of the web requests. And then in front of those, we've got a caching technology called Varnish. It integrates really closely with Magento to make sure that you're getting the latest information possible from Magento about products and pages and those sorts of things. But you can get it directly from Magento without having to go back to, directly from Varnish without having to go back to Magento as much as possible. The great thing about that is that usually your customers will hit Varnish, get a page, it'll never have to hit any of this stuff down here. All of the load is being handled up here. So you can handle way more users and then a lot more page views in the same amount of time. The key thing about that is that it lets you scale your key infrastructure, all of this stuff that's where your data is, what's actually handling buyers, people purchasing products, all of the information in your store. You can scale that based on the number of buyers you have, not the number of browsers. And that's essentially always the way you want to spend your money. You want to spend your money on people who are actually buying stuff, not the people who are just browsing through. So these are fantastic defense for when you have an artist do something controversial and you have a great campaign spike kind of thing. Lots of work going on here, not a lot of work going on here, except the people who are proffering along and purchasing albums. So they've actually got a whole bunch of their artist sites launched and running, and that with the stores attached. The really big store, the main one with all of the products, they're still gearing up for that launch. And I might leave questions for the Q&A. I'm going to talk to you today about SLI, what we do, search. So first of all, just a little bit of information about us. We've been around for 12 years. 2001 we started, so we're almost teenagers. We are a New Zealand company. We listed on the stock exchange earlier this year, but we only do about 2% of our business in New Zealand. We have 130 odd people working for us. Most of our customers are in the US. We also have an office. We've got about 40 people in the US. We've got about 20 odd in London. That's the UK is our next biggest market. Australia is really big for us. And we're powering, I think it might actually be over 700 sites. And this is just the search for these sites. And there's a selection of our customers down there. So we're really, really specialised, and we just do e-commerce search. First of all, let's start and take a look at e-commerce in New Zealand. So we put together a few stats here, which I think are quite interesting. E-commerce has really taken off in New Zealand. It's taken a while, but we're really seeing some traction here. It tripled. It's sort of tripled in less than 10 years. And the main reason is everyone's online. 65% of people have purchased online. Almost everyone's online. High credit card penetration, and one of the biggest things is that the retailers are getting online stores so people can actually buy online. Entertainment, leisure, fashion, electronics, all very popular. Some other interesting stats there. What is it? Online expenditure, 3.2 billion projected for this year. It's huge. It's almost real money. There is really interesting smartphone penetration. 60%. It's like I thought Australia was. Australia's got very similar numbers, but New Zealand's actually doing really, really well. So almost everyone, or the majority of people now have a smartphone, and I'm sure we're seeing in New Zealand what they're seeing in other markets. I was at the Shop.org show in Chicago last month, and there they were saying email open rates, about 44% of people are opening emails on smartphones. And so you want to be designing things for your smartphone first. Mobile is really, really important. And people are also buying tablets. I know I just bought another couple recently. So first of all, let me talk about search. So this is why we have a business. So I'm using Dick Smith as an example, and I do a little bit of a deep dive. And there's a little bit of a story around Dick Smith for us. They were one of our early customers, and we had an experience where they were owned by Woolworths, and Woolworths brought in a UK expert who they sort of standardised across all the Woolworths digital properties. And Dick Smith was really happy. We were saying, yeah, let's use SLI, but they ended up kicking us out and using one of our competitors. And this is the experience that you got on Dick Smith when they were using our competitor when you'd search for laptop. So these are good results. They all have the word laptop in them, but it's not what you're looking for when you're searching for laptops. And this experience is really, really common across a lot of e-commerce sites. It's why we have a business. And the main reason is building really good search is quite takes a lot of expertise, and retailers, their expertise isn't around search. It's around whatever the retailer it's around their particular area of expertise. It's not search. By contrast, now when you go to Dick Smith and do a search for laptops, you'll see what you expect to see. So much better experience. And it doesn't take too much to understand that you will make more money on the right-hand side than with experience on the left-hand side. Especially when you expand it across a broad range of keywords. So one of the things that's different about our search is it learns from the people who use it and keeps getting better. So what we do is we watch what people search for, what they click on, and bring the results that they click on most up to the top
an aggregate. And I've got some data there that sort of shows that learning happening. So for the keyword laptops, this laptop that was at the top, Chromebook, it used to be in position 25, so it was well down the search results. We've seen that when people search for that keyword, that's the one they click on most, so it's made its way up to the top. The next one was at 21. So every day those results change, depending on what people, the individuals on the site are finding most relevant. And then that means people are more likely to find what they're looking for, it means they're more likely to purchase. So that's the value you get from a better search. A few stats here, you know, if pretty obviously if people can't find it, they can't buy it. If the experience is poor, we did a survey and we found that almost 3/4 of people will leave the site within 2 minutes if they can't find what they're looking for. It's very easy to just go find another site, go find it somewhere else. A lot of people sort of either end up being a navigation person or a search person. So some people just look for that search box on the website and go straight to that. Even if the product that they're looking for is right there, they'll just go to that box. Others prefer to just browse around and look at your category structure. But even then, a lot of those people who don't find what they're looking for through navigating through your category will then go back to search. So it's really important that you spend some effort on making sure your search works. We typically see people who search convert at 2 to 3 times the rate of people who don't search. And the main reason for that is that when someone's putting in a keyword, they're saying, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want right now. And so it gives you an opportunity to show them exactly what they're looking for. So they're giving you more information when they're typing in that keyword than when they're clicking on categories. And so improving your search is one of the easiest things you can do to improve the revenue on your site. On top of that, it's really interesting watching what people search for. And I'm not sure, is this laptop connected to the internet? Don't know.
Yep.
Oh, cool. I'll show you what people are searching for on some of our sites in a sec. It's really interesting. You can learn a lot about your users and the language by watching what they're searching for. It gives you real insight. Here's some more on that. So one of the things about looking at the search queries is your visitors will often use different language than what you use to describe your products. It's amazing the variety of things that people use. And when you see that they're using different language, you may not be able to use all the different types of ways that people use to describe it, but you want to make sure that regardless of how they're searching, they can find what they're looking for. On top of that, understanding that language gives you some insights into the language you should be using for some of the other marketing efforts you're doing. So for your search engine optimization, for your paid search, even for some of your offline advertising campaigns, you want to be using the language of your visitors so that it'll resonate for them. Yeah, I'm just going to try to click on this link, see if this works. You may be getting some sort of virus here, or so what this is doing is this is just showing live search terms that are happening right now across our customer sites. So we're serving about 750 million queries per month across all of our customers, and I think we'll be up to about 1 billion by the end of the year. So you know it's a little bit voyeuristic. We have these up on big screens in our down in Christchurch. You know, someone's just searched for Star Wars or Leopard, or what the hell are they looking for when they search for Leopard? Bed hardware. You know, it's kind of interesting. And this skips between a couple of views. Like, you know, there's Lady Gaga. The other view, this is the other view, which is just showing. It's just basically doing an IP lookup to see where they're searching from. So you can see, you know, it's a little bit late in the US. This is where most of our customers are. But it's just kind of interesting. So this is Scooby-Doo costume. And we do have some customers selling rude stuff as well. So occasionally you see all sorts of crazy stuff. This is a product we brought out, and we actually made it so our customers can have a view of this just for their own queries. And so what they're doing is they're putting it up in their e-commerce area, and they're just experimenting with it at the moment. It's a sort of beta product that we're providing for free. But they can see they do an email blast or something, they'll see people searching for the things, or suddenly they'll see a whole lot of people searching for something, and it could be that something's happened on TV and they end up on their site or whatever. But it's kind of interesting. So let me switch back to the PowerPoint. So there's a bunch of metrics you can get out of search. So and you can get this whether you're using our product or you can just hook up Google Analytics and get a lot of these as well. So just knowing what the top search terms are, it's really interesting to do that. One of the most useful reports we produce is the search terms with poor results. So we call it search poor if it's got a low click-through rate. So that may be because there's no results, or maybe just because the results aren't very good for whatever reason. And normally the reasons why you don't have good search, if you're using our search anyway, is and the relevance is sorted out, is people using different language than what you're using on your site. So you can often fix that just by putting in a synonym, so that they'll find what they're looking for when they're using the language, or they're searching for something that you don't have. And I think that's really good to know as well. And there's some tactics you can have around that, and I'll show you one of those in another slide. You want to look at the conversion rate from people who search. One of the measures of search quality we have is the average rank of the clicks. So the ideal search result, the top one, would always give you what you're looking for. So the average rank would be 1, but if the search is sort of a lower quality, people will have to go down. Sometimes you want people to go through a few different results. So it's a metric. It's not, none of these are perfect. The click-through rate is another one. Speed of the search results page is really, really important. I think it was Jeff mentioned speed. Across the whole site, it's really important. Search, it's also important. The faster you can make that happen, the better it is. Also interesting to look at the volume of queries. Occasionally you'll see spikes. We will see that for all sorts of reasons on customers. Hopefully it's normally around something, they're doing some sort of promotion, but occasionally they'll get, they may get attacked, or they may have, there's these price people that are out there scraping prices off sites, and they do a whole lot of queries. I know we had one of our UK customers, we had that SLI live up, and then at 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK, which was in our afternoon, we suddenly saw all these queries coming through when it was otherwise quite slow. And it was an actual bot coming through in the middle of the night, scraping all their prices and then selling that price information to the competitors. And that's a bit of a whack-a-mole thing. When we see that, we sort of block that IP, and then they go into another IP, and we just keep breaking them down. So I'm going to look at a little bit more of a case study with Dick Smith here. Pretty clear business problem. They couldn't find what they're looking for. I showed you that example. I think that really summed it up nicely. They wanted to increase conversions, etc. And so they rolled out Learning Search, our product, Rich Autocomplete, Site Champion, and Learning Search. And I think I'll show you all of those. Let's see. Okay, so first of all, Rich Autocomplete. So this is a product that one of our customers helped us create a few years ago. So this is where, as you start typing, you see not only search suggestions that match the characters that you type, but you also see products that match the characters. We built this out for one of our customers when they asked us to, and we found that the people who, about 30% of people who search would use it, and the conversion rates were twice as high for people who used it. And the average order value was high as well, so there were some really good stats. So we were like, that's interesting, so we turned it into a product, and it's available for all of our customers. But I think the reason it works is it sort of takes a step out of the process. You don't even have to go to the search results page. You can go straight from the search box to the product page. And most of the usability experts say that if you take a step out of the process, you improve the usability. If you improve the usability, you improve the conversion rates. So that's that works really well. Search responsiveness. If I had the laptop here, I'd show you this live. But one of the things we do for Dick Smith and a lot of our customers to improve that page load time is we use Ajax, so that when you do a search refinement or a reordering or look at another page, we don't reload the whole page. We just reload the content that needs to be reloaded, and that makes it a lot faster. And that's just around that speed. If you improve the speed, you improve the conversion rates. We had one customer who put this Ajax search on and saw a 20% bump in conversion rate when they just essentially sped it up. And also, it's a little bit more engaging, you know, it's just, as soon as you hit it, you get something happen. No results page, you will get that happening from time to time. There's a few things I just want to point out on here. You want to have a spell checker. And rather than just saying, sorry, there are no results, we're also showing here's some other popular search terms so they can just click on those. And we also will see customers put in popular products as well, so you can actually merchandise that page rather than just showing them nothing. One of the other things we do is, I mentioned before that looking at top searches is useful for search engine optimization. We've actually turned this into a product that we call Site Champion, which uses the data from site search to automatically help search engine optimization. So the basic idea there is that the keywords people type into search are really similar to the keywords people type into Google. And so we automatically create pages that are optimized for the most popular site search terms, allow them to be indexed. And so this helps drive more traffic to the site. So here's an example for this term, which is quite a long tail term, ASA E1522. It's not a term you'd spend any time manually trying to optimize for, probably. But because we see that people are searching for that on the Dick Smith site, we've created pages that are optimised for that Google's found and it's ranking there. And so that's driving additional traffic to the site. So that's just an example of why you want to be looking at search data for search engine optimization. And it works really, really well. So this is a Magento event. So we are a Magento Gold partner. I don't quote me on this, but one of our customers, someone in the company said, I think we've got 70 or 80 Magento customers, so that I think it's the largest single platform. And that kind of matches those stats that you were showing, we've got 400 and something customers, so that 80 customers using Magento lines up with that. It is a really important platform for us. It's great that it's an open platform that they let you use whatever you want. We do a lot of these events, so I did this one in May earlier this year, but we do them all over the world. And Magento is a really important partner for us, and we try and support them as much as we can. If you're looking for an e-commerce platform, we will recommend Magento, and I believe Dick Smith, our customer here, are using Magento. So our plugin, basically what it does is it just makes it really easy to integrate the SLI search, so that you can easily, because in order for us to build the search, we need to get all the data. We host the search results page for our customers, so we need the templates, and so it just makes all that process much easier. And it actually takes a lot of work building and maintaining these plugins, but it's well worth it. So let's get on to the silly season tips. So I just want to talk about a few things that our customers do. First of all, around top searches. So what can you do when you're looking at the top searches? So one of the things our customers can do is you can actually go and look at the search results and say, well, is that what I want my customers to see when they type that in? So we have an interface where you can go and tune the results manually if you decide that the learning that happens for our search isn't giving the results you want. You may have a product that you're discounting, or you've got excess stock of that you want to get rid of, and that you want to push to the top. So we provide an interface so you can do that. So tuning results is one thing. Landing pages. So this is basically where you can say, rather than showing you search results, I want to take you straight to a page that's optimized for this term. So here, if you type in iPhone 5 into Dick Smith, rather than seeing the search results, you go straight to their iPhone 5 landing page. This is just about improving the conversion rate. Banners. You can put in keyword-specific banners. So here, what is the search term? I can't read it. But here we'll put in a banner that only appears if you type in this particular keyword, and it just provides, again, if you click on that, you go to another landing page. You can put in any HTML you want, but it improves the experience. It gives the user some more cues that they're at the right place for the keyword that they've typed in. So we have our customers, merchandisers, spending a bit of time putting these sort of banners in and doing these tunings when they want to. And then you can combine a couple of these things and create customized landing pages. Now, there was talk of segmentation and how this is important. And I mean, one of the ways you can improve your return on your emails, the click-through rates on emails, is to provide segmented emails rather than sending the same one out to everyone. You identify a group of people that have an interest around a particular area. They may have bought a certain type of product, or they've got some demographics. And if you target something to them, you'll get a better click-through rate, and you'll make more money per email. So what SurfStitch do is they make use of this a lot, and they use two of those functions I showed you, the banners and the tunings, where they'll just make up a keyword, they'll then put a banner against it, they'll then tune some products against it, and it's a custom landing page that is around a particular theme. So here this is one around retro, and then because it's all using search, they just selected what products they wanted to show there. They put the retro banner in, but they have all the refinements and stuff, so you can still refine through those 90 odd products that they put into that particular landing page, and then they did an email campaign around that, targeted at the people that they thought would be interested in retro. So that's something you can sort of use your search for to help with your segmentation and get more out of your email. Gift Find is another really simple thing that you can do, and often you can use your existing search for this. If you've got a faceted search, you can basically provide a form that allows you to pre-fill some of the facets. So here's an example from our Australian customer, Bevel's. They've actually put this on their home page, and this is really useful for the Christmas season. And basically, the Gift Finder just provides a bunch of drop downs, so you can say, you know, who you're looking for, what price range you're looking for, what category, what occasion. So these are all facets associated with their data, and basically it just fires up a search. So here's the example here where you've selected the her, say you're looking for a piece of jewellery for your wife or your girlfriend or both. There's a price range, the category is jewellery, then you see exactly what you're looking for. So this is good for the person who doesn't know exactly what they're looking for, they've got some other criteria. And it's really easy and really popular way of, it's particularly useful for this gift type of buyer that doesn't know what they're looking for. Finally, I think this is the final slide. I mentioned before that sometimes you don't, people will search for things that you don't have. And so one of the things you can do is you can then put a banner on, so that if people search for that product, you show them an alternative. And so what Sellbikes did, another Australian customer, is they didn't sell the giant bikes, and so they put this banner on saying, don't make a giant mistake. We've got all these other really good bikes here, so have a look at them. So, and so often, there may be a particular product line that you can't sell because you don't have a relationship with the manufacturer or whatever, but you've got some alternatives. So this is a tactic you can take to try and at least convert some of that traffic for people that are searching for that stuff you don't have. Oh, no, I do have another one. Poor results. So I talked about this. So a couple of things you can do. Synonyms. So this is one we saw on Dick Smith, where you do a search for the S3, which is actually the SIII, but you want to make it so that if you search for S3, you see the Samsung Galaxy that you're looking for. And so either of those search queries will work. And that's it. Thanks very much. I think now we'll do the much anticipated questions.